It ain't the left side or the right side, and it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side.
Thank you, Solo D. Welcome to another episode of On the FinSide here with Kat and Paul. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. I'm Brian Cat, NFL on Twitter. Paul is fanatic_pick. The Dolphins, with the 70th overall pick in the third round, take Texas safety Brandon Jones. Someone we didn't talk a whole heck of a lot about in the pre-draft process because there were so many safeties out there, but maybe we should have talked about him a little bit more. Actually, PFF's comparison to him was Patrick Chung, which makes a lot of sense given the intelligence that he seems to bring to this position, Paul.
It is, but you know what? I like this player. The more I watch him, the more I like him. He does a very good job of playing really all the safety positions. I love the fact that he not only plays with intelligence, but he's got a lot of speed. He doesn't have the most size out there, but he's a very sure tackler, and he can be that deep safety help, or he can play up in the box a little bit. So he can play that nickel safety. So Miami's got a lot of flexibility with how they deploy him, and they can mask a lot of things with him on the field and still have him play intelligently enough to have a role. So I actually wound up really liking this pick a lot more than I did initially and thought I was going to.
Yeah, I like it a little more than I did initially because at first I got to tell you I struggled. As if we were in the chat room on YouTube, and I muted myself and said, just judge the pick by my face. And as soon as the pick was Brandon Jones, I gave this terrible look because there was so much value at this point in the draft. You look around and you see guys like, Ashton Davis, who I loved, Damian Lewis, the guard from LSU, Justin Madubuike from Texas A&M, Josh Jones, who would have thought that? He goes, 2 picks after Brandon Jones. So, at first I was not all that pleased, and he wasn't one of my favorite picks of the draft here, but still a very good player. He moved, like you said, Paul, he played free safety. He played strong safety. He also played some nickelback at Texas, so you can be sure that was very, very intriguing to Brian Flores. But one really interesting thing about him is that because he could not run due to an injury this past year, what he did and what he spent his time with in the pre-draft process is he sent notebooks to all 32 NFL teams explaining, based on their coverage, how he would play all 31 of the other teams in the NFL based on at least 6 games that he watched of each team. Now, that is what you call work ethic and the ability to study in the classroom. So he's somebody that, even if he's not going to be a star, Paul, looks like somebody that, as long as he can stay healthy, might be in the league for 10 years.
Yeah, and the thing I like is you can play him at that single high and have him be help over the top, which takes him out of the shortcomings he has in man coverage in his game and puts him more in that helper position that's got the speed to come up if it's a run play, got the speed to go sideline to sideline, and lets you take Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain and let them go out and be a little bit more instinctive football players, which Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain rely a little bit more on instinct. And so having them up a little more and having him be that single high deep, I like that mixture a lot for this secondary.
Yeah, he has played that single high free safety position at Texas. I'm just not sure how great he was at it. PFF gave him a really poor grade in that area, 53.6 coverage grade in 2017 and 2018 when he lined up deep. So I'm not quite sure he has the range, but then again, Bobby McCain doesn't have the range either. And sometimes when you have the intelligence at the NFL level, you can anticipate plays before they happen, and maybe you don't need to be as rangy. So, I'm coming around a little bit more on the pick. I could see this being a Brian Flores type of selection, somebody who's obviously going to work very hard as long as he really does need to overcome his injuries. But, one thing that does kind of irk me a little bit is I look at the rest of the board, and Brandon Jones went 70th. Right above him, to the Jets. It just killed me. One of my favorite players, Ashton Davis, goes 68th overall. Has a lot more range, a lot more upside. And then above him, 64th overall, at the end of the second round, you have the Carolina Panthers that traded up to that spot to get Jeremy Chin, who's also phenomenal. This was a situation where instead of taking Brandon Jones, to be quite honest with you, I would have preferred the Dolphins got back up into the second round and tried to get a Jeremy Chin or an Ashton Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously had Chin and Davis rated higher. I would have probably preferred them over the Raekwon Davis pick. But again, end of the day, I think Miami improved their secondary with this pick, and that's where I can give this pick a B+, because I think he's a fit with the talent that they currently have and what he can do, and he's got that positional versatility as well. He's definitely got the IQ and speed. So I can give this one a B+. Actually, I'm going to give it just a straight B on this one. Let's just leave it right there.
Good. Yeah, I'll go with a C+. I think my grade would have been lower at the time, but he's a solid player, and you can't swing for the fences and go all upside with every pick. And I think Brandon Jones here is a reflection of that. And that's going to do it for our breakdown of Brandon Jones, the Dolphins' third-round pick, 70th overall, who's going to be adding depth to that safety spot. You can follow Paul and I on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And if it's not on the right side and it's not on the left side, it is on the FinSide. So, D, take us home.
It ain't the left side or the right side, and it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side or the right side, and it must be the FinSide. Listen, Dolphins fans across the land all tuning in to see what Brian Cat and Paul